Good morning and Happy New Year. It's hard to believe it's been 1 year since we last saw one another on campus, let alone at the annual UO-MLK commemorative luncheon in the EMU ballroom. Last year, we hosted nearly 300 participants. Since we last saw one another, we've experienced a global pandemic, devastating wildfires, social unrest locally and globally, and a divisive election cycle. What a historic, challenging, and troublesome time. I am grateful to be here with you in virtual community this morning, and also humbled by the responsibility we each share in redesigning our future. Given our new normal and efforts to embody King's legacy, we are offering a different virtual MLK commemorative experience. I am delighted to serve as your virtual host and guide us through our program. Please use the chat box and kindly share your name so we know who's in the room, and we'll continue to use the chat box to express what we are thinking and experiencing throughout the program. We will also be sharing relevant information with you in the chat, so stay tuned. As we prepare to officially open our program, I would like to contextualize the forthcoming land acknowledgement, the singing of the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and the morning meditation offered by Rabbi Meir. This section is intended to serve as an opportunity for personal reflection. Dr. Yvette Alex Asenso, Professor of Political Science and Vice President for Equity and Inclusion, whom you will hear later from in our program, reminds us that dispossession created century-long inequities in wealth, health, and opportunity. Additionally, Oregon had distinguished itself as the only state in the Union to ban Black people from settling within its borders, with a series of Black exclusion laws starting in 1844. Other major historical atrocities include, but are not limited to, the exploitation of Chinese and Hispanic labor and the use of Japanese internment camps. Within this context, European settlers came to Oregon to take advantage of the land and resources that were offered through government programs and legislation. In a national context where land theft was legal and racial oppression was commonplace, European settlers, as well as citizens from other parts of the country, incorporated towns, formed governing bodies, and built many of the institutions for which Oregon is known. Yet, the vestiges of racism, oppression, and exclusion live on in institutions across our state in ways that we are reckoning with today, as evidenced this summer. At the University of Oregon, we feel that acknowledging this history is deeply American, profoundly patriotic, and an essential entry point for creating the type of systemic change that benefits all on our campus, in our community, and indeed across the entire state of Oregon.
Deitzla, and welcome to the University of Oregon. The University of Oregon is located on Kalapuya Ilahi, the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to the Coast Reservation in western Oregon.
Today, descendants are citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians of Oregon, and continue to make important contributions to their communities at UO and across the land we now refer to as Oregon.
We express our respect for all federally recognized tribal nations of Oregon. This includes the Burns Paiute Tribe, the Confederated Tribes of the Coos, Lorumquah, and Siuslaw Indians, the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde Community of Oregon, the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians of Oregon,
the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, the Coquel Indian Tribe, the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, and the Klamath Tribes.
We also express our respect for other displaced indigenous peoples who now call Oregon home.
other thing I want to say to you is that hate isn't our weapon either. And I'm not talking now about a weak love. It would be nonsense to urge oppressed people to love their oppressors in an affectionate sense. I'm not talking about that. Too many people confuse the meaning of love when they go to criticizing the love ethic. I'm talking about a love that is so strong that it becomes a demanding love. I'm talking about a love that is so strong that it organizes itself into a mass movement and says somehow, I am my brother's keeper. And he's so wrong that I'm willing to suffer and die if necessary to get him right and to see that he's on the wrong way.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Shalom, friends. My name is Rabbi Meir Goldstein, and I am truly honored to be giving the opening meditation today. In Judaism, in my tradition, it teaches that when God, the creator of the universe, the creator of the periodic table, the creator of all life, human beings, dogs, cats, unicorns, you name it, the source of all being. When God sought to create the human being, God wasn't trying to create more angels. God didn't need more creatures who would just go out and naturally do that which was desired by the Holy One. God wanted a partner. God gave us free will, the ability to choose. And what the Holy One wanted of us so many eons ago, 14 billion years ago when the Big Bang all started. What the Holy One wanted from us is the same thing that the Holy One wants from us today. To choose to do the good and the holy. To choose to do the good and the holy. It has always been a difficult choice. It is not what's best for me, but rather what's best for us. It's no longer letting ourselves be me-centered, but rather us-centered, as the great Dr. King said during his Nobel Prize speech. So the idea is to go forth and to enter into covenant with those around us, to improve ourselves so we can improve our relationships, so we can improve our community, so we can improve our society. And Dr. King reminded us that if we are going to head in the direction we want to go in, we have to have a map. If we don't have a map, we'll only go around in circles. We'll never get there. God forbid. God forbid. As Dr. King told us, the long arc of history bends towards justice. But here's the important caveat, friends. It only bends towards justice when justice is our ultimate goal. This doesn't happen by happenstance. It's not built in. It's not divined by the stars. It's something that we do We choose to do. We choose the good, time and again, day in, day out. How do we enter into covenant with each other? And how do we dream that dream? I just want to remind us, and inspire us with two of the insights from Dr. King's dream I take with me every day. Two of the great quotes, there are so many, two of the great quotes coming so close together. Friends, Dr. King said in 1963, "I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood." And Dr. King said, "I have a dream my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." I have a dream today. And this is a worthy dream for us to all continue to have today. A dream where we can build a covenant. A covenant means a relationship with each other built on ultimate values, on first principles, on recognizing the ultimate dignity of the other. In my tradition, we teach every human being is a son or daughter of the Holy One. And it's our obligation to recognize the dignity of the other through our everyday actions, through our everyday words, and through the dreams we dream together. Come on, friends, I invite you to join me as we dream Dr. King's dream and we build that dream into a reality. So may it be.
During the land acknowledgement, Lift Every Voice and Sing, and the morning meditation, I reflected on our theme, A King's Company, Lessons for the Flock. Obviously, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did not act alone, and we embody collective action as members of the mighty University of Oregon community. Adding to our landscape, the Lily Reynolds Parker Black Cultural Center, the adaptation of a Black Studies minor, and my participation on the Presidential Committee on Recognizing Our Diverse History signals to me that yes, we have much more work to do, potentially extending across our natural lifetimes, but that we are indeed in King's company, given our pursuit of racial justice, and also see this pursuit as an essential element of our overall recovery from the pandemic, unrest, and our changing physical environment. I am hopeful that this MLK commemorative experience allows us to reconnect with one another in a time where we feel trapped by Zoom and FaceTime, that in reconnecting with one another, we can realign our efforts and share relevant insights useful to our recovery. And lastly, that we can be reminded of and recalibrate around our ongoing commitment to further bending the moral arc of the universe towards justice. Please share what came to mind for you during the former part of the program, and please place that in the chat box. The next portion of our program is inspirational and motivational. Drawing upon our theme, Dr. Alex Ascenso will provide us with commemorative remarks on Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his company. Following her inspirational remarks, we will be graced with MLK tributes across our campus, but focused in the School of Music and Dance. One from the renowned Dr. Jackie Cordova Arrington, Assistant Professor of Flute, and the second tribute from SOMD scholar Natalie North. Following the campus tributes, we will have remarks of motivation from Damian Pitts, academic advisor and diversity initiative specialist in undergraduate programs in the Lundquist College of Business. Followed by Damian, you will hear from our 18th president of the University of Oregon, Michael H. Schill.
Welcome everyone to A King's Company, Lessons for the Flock. And thank you very much to Dr. Leslie Ann Pittard and the CASE team for making this event possible. I'm Yvette Alex Ascenso, Professor of Political Science and Vice President for Equity and Inclusion. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the passion for justice he has and continues to inspire in so many to this day. With that said, let us never forget the fact that Dr. King's story is not the only story. He is part of a large lineage of leadership. There is no Dr. King without the man that he called his spiritual father, Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays. There is no civil rights movement without the woman King called the Queen Mother of the civil rights movement, Septima Poinsett Clark. Many of King's most noted accomplishments don't happen without partners and fellow organizers like A. Philip Randolph and Bayard Rustin. We very well may not have seen the King who opposed the Vietnam War, stood with sanitation workers in Memphis and told the world the words that riots are the language of the unheard, without leaders like Ella Baker and Stokely Carmichael, who pushed him to stay connected with young leaders on the ground. Strides we've made at the University of Oregon in recent years and in the past are no different. When we talk about things like the Lily Reynolds Parker Black Cultural Center, the Native American Studies Program, the Black Studies Program, and the Latino Studies Program, it's certainly not to brag. It's to show instead what can be accomplished when we honor those who built the foundations for these programs that we continue to build upon. We walk in the footsteps of UO Black Student Union students who demonstrated on campus in 1968, days after Dr. King was assassinated, and presented a list of demands to administrators. We are indebted to the Black Student Task Force, who demonstrated on campus in 2015 to continue the work of the students of 1968 and both pushed and worked with UO administrators to make the list of demands a reality. And while that work is messy and ongoing, the work continues and has also relied on the contributions of other students, of community partners and organizers from all racial and ethnic groups. As we continue to wrestle with COVID-19 pandemic, racial injustice, natural disasters, and global economic downturns, the need for a collective approach that honors and engages with the lessons of our predecessors is an urgent matter. During this time when we celebrate Dr. King's legacy, I urge you to reject complacency. In fact, let me take it one step further. I challenge you to reflect and act upon the following questions. Whose work am I following in the footsteps of? And what am I doing to build upon the lessons of their experiences? Who am I collaborating with now? Is our movement intersectional? What measures are in place to hold us accountable as we continue pushing for justice? Not progress, justice. I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish, and I'm excited to see where we're going to go. That said, if we truly want to honor Dr. King's legacy, then we must move with purpose. We must move with persistence, and we must move with vision. Not just King's, but the many contemporaries, collaborators, and local people who were pivotal to this important work. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Damian Pitts. I'm an academic advisor and diversity initiative specialist in the Lundquist College of Business. I hail from Memphis, Tennessee, which just so happens to be the place where Dr. King was assassinated, and we bear that burden. Currently, the place where he was assassinated, the Raylin Motel, has become the National Civil Rights Museum, and so even in death, we continue to honor him, as this program is doing so now. One thing that I would recommend all of us do, regardless of how we feel, is to do self-care. As somebody who's ex-military, this is something that's always been hard for me, but in these troubling times, that has been the one thing that has kept me afloat. I know that we're all struggling right now. We want that connection. We want to be free to do certain things. We want to see our loved ones, but some of us can't right now, and so I just ask that you remain resilient. I ask that you continue to reach for support. I ask that you continue just to sit down and reflect, because without that, we might not be able to move forward as a community. And speaking of community, I know that we're fragmented right now and that there's so much going on in the world, and it's really hard to keep a track of everything that's going on, but I do ask that you remain cognizant, remain aware. I know that some of the things that are going on can be very depressing or sad. However, realize that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and I ask that you continue to look for that light. And who knows, maybe you're that light for somebody. And so just remember, you're not doing this alone. We love you, we support you, and please stay healthy and safe.
Hello, I'm Michael Schill, president of the University of Oregon. It's my great privilege to take this time to celebrate the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We look to him as inspiration as we seek to realize his dream of equality, freedom, and racial justice. Dr. King spoke in his famous I Have a Dream speech of the urgency of the moment, of the legitimate discontent that will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equity. The unparalleled challenges of the last year have cast a bright light on the severity of injustice suffered by Black Americans. Many of us have known intellectually of the racism that has plagued our nation for generations. We have committed to improving diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have diligently worked to right the wrongs, but the disproportionate impact of the pandemic on people of color, the increasingly divisive and racist political rhetoric that has culminated in the attack on the United States Capitol less than 2 weeks ago, and the killing of George Floyd and so many more Black people, they all make abundantly clear that our progress has been far too slow. Combating systemic racism in society is a moral imperative, one for which universities must be leaders, not observers. As an institution of higher education, the University of Oregon will continue to be a force of change to combat racism and advance racial justice. We must build on our work of the past 6 years, spurred by the Black Student Task Force, work that brought to our campus the Lily Reynolds Parker Black Cultural Center, the Black Studies Program, the Umoja Black Scholars Academic Community, the African American Workshop and Lecture Series, Black sororities, new recruiting and hiring efforts, and much more. To advance our anti-racism work, the University of Oregon has committed at least $11 million toward the new Provost Diversity Initiative. As part of this initiative, we will hire a cluster of faculty of color whose research will be dedicated to understanding racial disparities in American life and promoting resilience. I anticipate that the areas of inquiry will include many of the same areas of inequality that Dr. King wrote and spoke about, including education, housing, and health. Our striving for racial equity and inclusion must also examine how our university operates. A few months ago, I announced a plan to change the way policing is done on the University of Oregon campus. We will reduce the number of armed officers, hire more community service officers, and take other important steps to address the safety and accountability concerns of our university community members who are Black and people of color. Now, as we go about the work of promoting change on our campus, we also need to fully understand and come to grips with our past. The recommendations of our committee to recognize our diverse history, those recommendations will inform our efforts to ensure that our campus today reflects our current values and not those of a different era. Our diversity action plans, they are entering a new phase as we work together to ensure that all of our students, faculty, and staff are culturally competent and informed under the new requirements of House Bill 2064. And perhaps most importantly, we will continue to bring students and scholars together to create and share knowledge about race, class, and power, and to challenge ourselves and our students to learn more about what it will take to live in what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called a beloved community. We will continue to hold events and foster courageous conversations, as we are doing today, in the long, continued effort to realize the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. We do so because, in the words of Dr. King, it would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. I'd like to thank the staff of the Division of Equity and Inclusion for organizing today's event and bringing us together. And I'd also like to thank all of you watching for your individual and collective commitments to a more just nation and world.
This was such a different year for our MLK commemoration due to the novel coronavirus. It is safe to say our world has forever shifted, and this virtual experience demonstrates that together we will recover strong. But we must support one another and lift each other up to achieve that end. Admittedly, this has been an extremely difficult time. What I love most about my career in higher education is our vibrant living and learning environment, and we're not able to engage in the same way as we're accustomed. My heart is so heavy amidst all the loss our nation is experiencing. We're inching close to having lost nearly 400,000 American lives. And many of you, including myself, have lost loved ones. We send and express our deepest condolences to those of you and your families who might have lost a loved one during this painfully unprecedented time. If you are a student, I am reminding you that there are wonderful and amazing colleagues in the counseling services who offer a variety of support resources. The same is true for our wonderful colleagues. Please take care of yourselves. Human Resources and the Division of Equity and Inclusion stand ready to support you and your team. We're sharing some links in our chat that might be helpful, and we also encourage you to share a link or a resource that you think might be helpful to others during this time. The only way we can recover strong from this is for each of us to do our own due diligence and protect, as Dr. King reminds us, our beloved community, our flock. And that's something we can each do, each and every day. Hence, MLK every day. This is why we highlighted testing today. If in fact you were unable to register, you can do it tomorrow between 8 and 11:15 a.m. in Matt Court. Registration is required by 5 p.m. We are sharing the link for the registration portal in our chat now. There is no greater way to take care of the flock than by taking care of yourself, wearing a mask, and maintaining social distance. We even enhanced our MLK swag to include masks this year and hope if you are wearing one that you are modeling care and concern for the flock. We strongly encourage you to test today or tomorrow and to test often. Know your status. Our theme, A King's Company, was designed to respond to our context. It is impossible to ignore, even with great effort. We wanted to be in virtual community in a way that helped promote reflection, collective action, and accountability during such a dark, dark time. Just last week, we witnessed an insurrection against the government of the United States of America. To say I am disappointed and deeply troubled is an understatement. But I believe in the future, and that represents our past. We have not fully reckoned with our past. We seemingly left the Reconstruction era with unfinished business. Strides have been made, but we must pick up the pace. Our world is changing, and we will indeed be left behind if we cannot each do our part and move our society forward. Look at our journey, Oregon. I'm not supposed to be here promoting difficult civil discourse, democracy, and beloved community. But here we are, together, and we will move forward together. And that's exactly why, beginning at 1 p.m., we will have our first campus-wide Courageous Conversation. And we thank those who pre-registered for this event. This platform is new and taking shape, and we need your help. We want to keep these going beyond today. I implore you to host one in your school and your unit so that we can advance authenticity, accountability, and collective action. We know there is a lot happening in our world, across our campus in various schools and units, but we don't often have an opportunity to connect across our areas to build understanding and advance solutions. The Courageous Conversations actually emerged from my work on the Committee for Recognizing Our Diverse History. Campus expressed an interest in engaging in these issues through a difficult dialogue series, and today is an excellent opportunity to be in community and to grow our Courageous Conversations. I'm looking forward to our time today and shaping next steps for more Courageous Conversations. So stay tuned. Unfortunately, we are unable to host our social distance screening of Black Panther this evening due to COVID. We want to thank Ducks After Dark and the Multicultural Center for their efforts with planning, and we'll also keep you posted about the impending reschedule. Lastly, in chat updates, we are sharing more information pertaining to all events taking place for the official observance of MLK Day on Monday, January 18th. Remember, MLK is a day of service. It is a day on and not a day off. As we now transition to our virtual lunch break, we want to express our sincere gratitude to all who presented and contributed to this inaugural MLK virtual experience. This is such an overwhelming moment, and we are truly thankful for you sparing your time and talent, making this effort possible. You each did a wonderful job, and we are so glad we are a part of the flock together. A special thank you to the UO Communications team who supported our vision and worked with us down to the wire. A shout out to the MAP team for hosting COVID-19 testing and making it possible on our campus. A most special thank you to my amazing DEI colleagues, Samantha Maddox, CASE Program Coordinator, Tova Staben, DEI Communications Specialist, and the entire CASE team for their many contributions in shaping this program and our MLK swag. In some ways, of course, this is just one day, but to achieve our end, to bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice, MLK must be every day. See you at 1.